it's Yuri for another video. Let's dive in.
It's a Tuesday night. You're 32 years old, sitting at a kitchen table in the dark, staring at a spreadsheet you built 6 months ago in a weekend of panic. The radiator is hissing. The number on the screen says $214. That's what's left of you. After rent, after bills, after the quiet exhaustion of just existing. You close the laptop, you sit in the dark, and something quietly shifts. Not like a movie, just a door creaking open in a house that's been shut up too long. Here is what nobody tells you when you start this in your 30s. You are not behind. You are not doomed. But you are not getting a clean run at this either. Your 20s are gone. The compounding years that every finance book uses in its examples, where you invest a little at 22 and retire wealthy, those years are behind you. The math on that is real, and it is worth grieving for exactly one night. Just one. Because here is what else is true. You are not 22 anymore. You are not investing with a part-time income and zero concept of how money actually behaves. You have a job, you have professional skills, and you are old enough now to stop lying to yourself. The math says if you invest a few $100s a month, you will have $1 million by 62. That isn't optimism, that isn't a sales pitch, that is just arithmetic, running quietly in the background of every decision you make from this point forward. But doing that requires the brutal, unsexy work of turning $214 into an emergency fund. The first milestone isn't $10,000. It's the first real $1,000. In a savings account you do not touch. This is harder than it sounds, because $1,000 in your 30s is a car repair. It's a medical bill. Life at 32 has more surface area than it did at 22. More things can go wrong. Building that first 1,000 feels like pouring water into a cracked glass. It keeps leaking out before you can even feel it. So you do the quiet work. You sell the jacket you bought to feel successful. You cancel the subscriptions. You eat lunch from home for 6 weeks. You pick up an extra Saturday shift doing something you're slightly overqualified for. And you don't tell anyone. One morning you check your account. $1,043. You sit with that for a second. No celebration, no announcement, but you feel something small and solid in your chest that wasn't there before. Proof that you can change the direction of something. Years pass. You automate your savings. You don't see the money, it leaves before you can rationalize keeping it. And then, on a freezing Wednesday morning, your car makes a grinding sound. The mechanic says the repair is $2,300. 3 years ago, this bill would have destroyed you. It would have been a crisis, a spiral, a reason to give up. But today, you sit in the cold passenger seat and you do the math. Your savings account has enough. You can pay this without a credit card, without interest, without going backward. You feel something steadier than happiness in that parking lot. At 34, something happens that nobody talks about. It has nothing to do with your account balance. You are standing in a store holding 2 coffee makers. One costs $39. The other costs $119. 5 years ago, you would have grabbed the cheaper one without thinking. But you stand there doing a different kind of math. You think about cost per use. You think in years, not days. You put the cheap one back. You realize something quietly significant. You are no longer making decisions in a 30-day frame. The wiring in your brain has changed without announcement. At 35, your friend buys a luxury car. He financed it over 72 months at a high interest rate. He doesn't tell you that. He just calls it a smart lease. You sit in the passenger seat and you feel the pull of it. The leather, the silence of the ride. A voice inside you, "You've been so disciplined. Doesn't that entitle you to something?" You notice that voice. You don't argue with it. You just let it pass. Because desire isn't the enemy. Desire on a schedule is. You get out of the luxury car and walk back to your old Honda, and you feel something quiet, clarity, the peace of knowing exactly what you're doing and why. At 38, something happens that redefines what you understand wealth to actually mean. Your mother calls on a Sunday evening. She sounds careful. The roof on her house has been leaking for months. The repair is $6,000. She doesn't know what to do. She's sorry to ask. You tell her not to be sorry. You tell her you'll take care of it. You hang up the phone and you sit with the feeling of what you just said. Said without hesitation, without the background calculation of what you'll have to give up. 5 years ago, helping her would have meant debt. Now, it just means you can help. That is the first moment you understand what building wealth is actually for. It's not a number. It's the capacity to show up for the people you love without it costing you your stability. By 39, your money is making money while you sleep. But you feel lonely in a specific, hard-to-explain way. The people closest to you are largely not doing this. Some are in genuine financial pain. Some make more than you and spend all of it. You've tried talking to them about it gently, but people don't change their relationship with money because someone mentioned index funds over dinner. They change it in the dark, at a kitchen table, when the number finally gets too uncomfortable to avoid, just like you did. So you carry this quietly. You split the bill evenly even when you ordered less. This is the part of wealth building that looks like nothing from the outside. You wake up on your 40th birthday. Before coffee, before your phone, you lie there in the dark and think about that warped kitchen table, the radiator, and the $214. Then you check the number. $200,000. Not a millionaire, not financially free in the way the internet defines it, but 40 years old with real working wealth built from nothing. Because you started. Because you automated the behavior before the motivation arrived. Because you paid cash for a broken transmission in a cold parking lot. Because you told your mother you'd handle it, and meant it. 8 years ago, you thought wealth would feel like a number, but it doesn't. It feels like the future is no longer something happening to you. It is something you have finally started to build.
If you made it to the end, you're officially one of my favorite people. Hit that subscribe button for more little thoughts like this. Let's chill, let's grow, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.